Okay, so I am now going to explain break down the code that makes up this console pro application for a Amazon e-commerce app. And first off, I'm just going to talk about the experience. I would have to say that overall, a smooth um assignment. Only two major hurdles in my opinion, which would have to be getting the lists all set up in order and really getting that communication between the shopping cart and the inventory working accordingly. And then I would say the other major hurdle was definitely the update functionality for the shopping cart. And as a temporary solution, I've managed to create a different function for update that allowed me to update the inventory stock when I decide to add more quantity to the shopping cart through the update function. The update functionality. I have it so that you can update the quantity that you have in the inventory if you want to add more of an item, or update the quantity that you have in the shopping cart if you want to add more of an item to the shopping cart. And so that when you add something from the shopping cart, you remove something from the shopping cart, you have some adverse effects to the um to the shopping cart and the inventory. You have different effects right there, and so we need to appropriately shift those values when we're updating those. So those were the two major hurdles. But overall, pretty pretty smooth sailing. Um, I'll start off with the product model. Same as in the class, in the lectures where we went over this. We have an ID for the product in order to keep track of which product it is and the order. In the inventory, we have an in-cart Boolean variable for the display string. And so that if our items is in the cart, if it's flagged as being in the cart, then when it's displayed, it's going to have a little the same pattern as if it's in stock, but it's just going to say in cart instead. We have our name, the same as before, and then we have the price. We have the private version, which the user can't affect, and then we have the public version of price, which is going to be used to set the actual price, which is the private version. But we don't want the user to be able to change the price, so we have the public version of price. In here, we have the public function of price with a getter and a setter. And the setter, in order to get price, we're gonna round that value that we're setting to 2. Same with quantity. We have our quantity variable. It's private. We don't want the user to be changing it. We have our quantity function. We have a getter and a setter for our quantity. Our getter, we're just going to return the quantity that we have here. And our setter, if we have a value less than 0, we're going to throw out an exception and tell the user that we can't have a value less than 0. Otherwise, we're just going to set that quantity to the value we were given. Display, as already explained, it's our string. If it's in cart, this is going to be our string for the cart format of the ID, the name, price, quantity. If it's not in cart, then it's going to be the same format, just saying in stock. We have our default constructor for the product, in which we're just going to set up an empty product with no name, no price, no quantity. It's not in the cart. And this is mostly going to be used when we first declare a product. And then we're going to have the user fill out this later on. We have a 2-parameter constructor for the product, from which we're going to take in the product that we want to add. This is mostly used for the shopping cart, and we're going to take in the product that we want to add from the inventory to the shopping cart. We're going to take in the quantity that the user wants to add to the shopping cart, and then we're going to appropriately set those values for our new product that's going to be now in the shopping cart. It's going to be a product that's in our shopping cart list. And then our toString function, in order to return the display string for when we want to print out our our lists, our values in our lists, and if we don't have anything in there, then we're just going to print out an empty string. Moving on to the product service proxy. Here we have our products, our inventory, which is products. This is going to be a list of products, and we're going to have a getter and a private setter. We don't want the user to directly be able to set the products, so we're going to have to make that private, and our getter so we can read out the list of products anytime or get those values. Our product service proxy is going to be a list of products. A product, a inventory, which is products, and that's a new list of products. Any instance of our product service proxy, any instance in which we're running it, we're going to have the inventory, which is a list of products in which case. Our last key, we're going to have a getter in order where we can get a last key at any moment. If we don't have any products so far in our inventory, then we're just going to return 0 as the last key. And then if we do have any products, then we're going to select an ID that is next up from the most recent ID that we've placed before when we last added a product to the inventory. So we're gonna get that ID, and then we're gonna get the product ID, and then we're gonna shift the max. Now our instance, we don't want any given instance to be conflicting in our product service proxy. So we're gonna lock our instance, and so if we don't have an instance so far, so we're starting up the program, the application, then we're just gonna make a new product service proxy for this current instance and return that. We don't want conflicting instances, so if we already have an instance, then it's going to be locked, and we're going to return our same instance. Then we have our addorupdate function in order to add a product to the inventory or update a product in the inventory. We're going to take in the product, meaning we're going to take in a product that the user has input that they want to add or update. If our product ID is 0, meaning that this product is not already in our inventory, meaning that we're going to create something new. We're going to give it an ID that is updated to be the next one up in our list, and then we're going to add that to our list of products to our inventory. If this product that we're passing through from the parameter is already in our inventory, then we're just going to return that, as that is already an updated product that has the new quantity that we want in our inventory, and we're just going to return that. And if the user wants to use it from the return, they can. Then we have our delete function. We're going to take in an ID of a product, so we have the ID of the product that the user wants to delete, and we can match that to our list. If the ID is 0, meaning it's not in the inventory, then we're just going to return null and not perform an action. We're going to go through our inventory, find a matching ID through the first default function. We're going to find a matching ID to the ID that was passed through the parameters. So we find our product that we want to delete. We're going to set that product into the product variable that we found, that we've made, and then we're going to pass through that variable to the remove function for products, and there we have deleted that product from the list. And then in the end, we're going to return our deleted product for if the user wants to output that product, or etc. That is the end of our product service proxy. Now moving on to the shopping cart service proxy. This is fairly similar to the product service proxy, only that in some locations there is definitely the The only main difference is the managing of the inventory when we're adding something to the shopping cart. So the shopping cart really depends on the inventory and it affects the inventory directly. Any actions done in the product service proxy doesn't really have an effect on the shopping cart, but the shopping cart definitely has an effect on the inventory. So our shopping cart is a list of products, same as our inventory, has a getter and a private setter. We don't want the user directly affecting the shopping cart if it's not through a function adding an object in it. And so we have our private, our shopping cart service proxy, and which we have a shopping cart that's a new list of products. And so now, the same as in the product service proxy, we have the last key in order to set a valid ID every time we create a product. We're having a new ID given to it that's most recent. We're starting off with an ID of 0 and moving onward. Same with the instances. We're gonna make sure that we don't have no conflicting instances. If we're starting up a new run of the application, then we're gonna get a new instance. Otherwise, if we're running through, we're gonna keep returning that same instance. Okay, so now the addorupdate function. This function is quite different in some aspects compared to the product service proxy. In here, we are same as in the inventory version, where we are going to pass through the product that we want to add, but we're also passing in the list of products. So we're passing in our inventory. The reason we're doing this is that we want the inventory stock, the quantity of the product that we're going to add to our cart, to be accurately reflected. So we're going to make our product true to being in the cart as it's not going to be in the cart. We're going to go through our inventory, find the matching product, store that in the existing product variable. If we didn't find a product, so the existing product is going to be null, and we're going to print out an error message and return the product that we wanted to add, signifying that we weren't able to add it to the cart. If this is a new product that we're adding to the shopping cart, so not already in the shopping cart, we're not updating. If the product is greater than, where the quantity the user wants to add is greater than the existing quantity already in stock, then we're going to prompt the user saying, we're going to print out an error message saying that there's not enough in stock, and we're going to return that product the user tried to add, signifying that there isn't enough in stock. If there is enough in stock, then we're going to remove that quantity from the stock. Our new quantity that we have that we want to add to the shopping cart, we're going to remove that from the stock in the inventory as it's now in the shopping cart. We're going to match the price because we don't let the user set the price in this product. We don't let the user set the price, as we don't want the user to be messing up the price and be able to input their own price when they're shopping and adding to cart. So we're going to set the price to the existing product price in the inventory. Then we're going to make a new item, we're going to make a new product using the quantity of the product we want to add to the shopping cart and the product that we pass through the parameter. This is going to be a new item. We're going to give it a last key, so we're going to update its ID to the next possible ID in our shopping cart. And then we're going to add that item to our shopping cart and return the new item that we have if the user wants to do something with our new item that we've now added to the shopping cart. Then if it's not a new item, then we would just return that product, meaning that we're updating the product. Now this right here, this function isn't really being used to update in this program as I wasn't able to quite get it working as an update. so far as um as the product quantity in the stock inventory was not updating accurately to what was being added in the shopping cart. So I decided to do an a loan update function that would do this accurately. In this update function, if we're going to pass through the product, the quantity we want to add, the quantity that we want of the item in the shopping cart. So we're not adding more, we're just changing the quantity that we already have in the shopping cart. And then we're going to pass through our list of products, our inventory. If the item's not there, then we're going to return null. There's nothing to update. Otherwise, we're going to get the difference in quantity, meaning we're going to subtract the quantity that is in the that we want in the this quantity is our old quantity in shopping cart. This product is going to have our new quantity that we have. So we're going to have this subtracted by the old quantity in shopping cart to get the difference of what we've added in the shopping cart. We're going to find the corresponding product in the product by matching the name. Make that the existing product variable. If it's null, then we're going to say it's not in our inventory. Otherwise, we're going to update our stock by subtracting the quantity difference, which is updating what we have in stock and accounting for what we're now adding onto the shopping cart newly. Then we're going to find our corresponding variable in the shopping cart. If that's null, then we're going to say, then we're just going to make the quantity our old quantity. And we're going to make if it's not null, meaning our item is there, then we're going to shift the old quantity in our shopping cart to our new quantity in the shopping cart, which is updating the quantity in the shopping cart, increasing the amount we have in the shopping cart. And then we're just going to return that product if the user wants to output. So basically in this function, we are just getting we're passing through a product with an updated quantity, which is our new version of the product we want in our shopping cart. We have the old quantity that was already in the shopping cart, and then we have our list of inventory. We're going to update the inventory accordingly to what we are now going to have in the shopping cart. And then we're just going to change the shopping cart quantity to the new quantity of the product that we've passed through. Our delete function is going to pass through an IV, same as the product service proxy. But same as the other functions in the product service proxy, we're passing through our inventory as well. If the ID is 0, meaning it's not in our shopping cart, then we're going to return null. Wasn't allowed to be able to use. We're going to check through our shopping cart in order to find a matching ID to the item in our shopping cart. If it's found, then we're gonna put that in our temporary shopping cart item product. And if that's null, then we're just gonna print out a little error message for the user. We're gonna go through our inventory, find the matching name to the item that we've found in our shopping cart through the ID. We're gonna find that product, store an existing product variable. If that's not null, then we're just going to add our quantity from the product we're deleting from our shopping cart back onto the inventory, meaning now we're removing it from the shopping cart and adding it back to the inventory once deleted from the shopping cart. Otherwise, so meaning that the user in the inventory might have deleted that product once it was out of stock, then the user is going to then this is going to add that product and just make that product again in our inventory. And so now we have the amount that was in the shopping cart as a new product in the inventory. In the end, we're going to remove that product from the shopping cart and return that product we've removed if the user wants to output it later on or use it for something else. Finally, we're going to move on to the main application, the main program, which is the presentation, etc. Here we're going to give the user, we're going to start off with two character variables for choice M, for choice menu. So which menu the user wants to use. We give the user an option of having a shopping menu or an inventory menu, simplifying the actions and being able to use one case statement um, for each action. And then choice A for choice action, for which action they want to enact when they run the program. Now, we're going to print out a little welcome message. If the user inputted nothing in the first prompt, then we're going to automatically put them in choice inventory, in inventory mode. Otherwise, we're going to take in their choice. And we're putting them in inventory mode as there's not much you can do in shopping mode right off the bat without adding something to the inventory. We're gonna make our inventory. So our list is a instance of our product service proxy, the current instance that we're gonna make, and then our shopping cart the same. It's a shopping cart. It's an instance of our shopping cart service proxy, and it's our shopping cart. Then our do while loop. I made the choice to print out our menu every time we go through the loop in order to give the user the possible actions that they can take at any given time, and not just only print it out once. Our do while loop is going to keep going until the user inputs Q for quit. So the user can keep making actions on this program, on this app, until they decide to quit by inputting Q. We're going to prompt them, CRUD, create new item, read, update, delete for both either inventory or shopping cart. They can take that action. Just what's done here is depends on what mode the user is in. So if they're in inventory mode, the inventory actions are going to be done. If they're in shopping mode, the shopping cart actions are going to be done. We can check out by P for payment. And then we can switch modes. The user can switch modes from inventory management to shopping mode, and then move to inventory management from shopping, and then Q for quit, obviously. We take in the user input, make sure they've inputted something. If they haven't, then we're just going to quit out the program for the user. Otherwise, keep going and taking their input into choice action. We have a switch statement giving all the cases for all the possible user input and following the appropriate actions after them. So if the user decided to create an item in the shopping cart or the inventory, then we're going to check what mode they are in. If the user is in shopping mode, then we're going to add something to shopping cart. If they're not, then we're going to add something to the inventory. If there's nothing in our inventory, we're going to print out an error message. Otherwise, we're going to call the addorupdate function for the shopping cart. We're going to switch the in cart to true. We're going to prompt the user to enter a name. The price is going to be set to 0 as we don't want the user setting the price themselves when adding something to the shopping cart. And we're going to set the quantity that they want. We only really need the name and the quantity that the user wants to add to the shopping cart. So those are the two things we have. We have our list. We're also going to pass through the list of inventory in order for the appropriate updating of stock. If we are in inventory mode, then we're going to use the product version of the addorupdate. I mean, the product service proxy inventory version of the addorupdate, which lets the user input the price, the name, the quantity that we want in stock. If we're reading out the inventory to the user, then we're going to, again, check what mode they're in. If they're in shopping mode, we're going to print out error message for an empty inventory if so found. Otherwise, we're going to go through each shopping cart and print out the contents in our shopping cart. Each item in our shopping cart, print out its entire price, name, quantity available that we have in our shopping cart. If we're in inventory mode, If the inventory is not empty, then we're just gonna print out every item in our inventory. If it is empty, we're gonna print out an error message. Our update case, in which the user wants to update an item, works for updating the quantity of an item either in the shopping cart or the inventory. We have a selection variable in order to what ID of a product in either the inventory or the shopping cart that the user wants to switch and update. If the user is shopping mode, then we're gonna error check for an empty inventory. Otherwise, we're gonna prompt the user what shopping cart product they would like to update. They will enter the ID, the corresponding ID. We're gonna store the old quantity of the shopping cart item in an old quantity integer, and so we're gonna match the ID of the item to the selection and get the quantity of the old item that we've had in the inventory in order to appropriately, as shown in the function, appropriately store the stock. Then we're gonna make a product name selected product, and we're gonna store the selected product from the shopping cart in there. If that product's not null, then we're gonna prompt the user to enter the new quantity. They're gonna enter the new quantity, so now the selected product is the same product as in the shopping cart, but with our new quantity. If the list is not null, so meaning we have stuff in our inventory, we're gonna call the update function and update our values accordingly. Otherwise, we're gonna print out an error message. If we're in inventory mode, it's mostly the same, just less hoops to jump through. We're gonna prompt the user what product they would like to update. They're gonna enter the ID. We're gonna match the ID to a product in the inventory. Store that in a selected product variable, a local variable, and then if it's not null, meaning we do have a product in an inventory that is matching what the user wants to update, then we're gonna prompt them a new quantity. We're gonna update that and pass it through the addorupdate function, which gives us an updated quantity. Case delete, so the user wants to delete something from the inventory or wants to delete something from the shopping cart, which puts it back in our inventory. If we're in shopping mode, we're going to prompt the user to ask what they want to delete. They're going to make that selection based on the ID. If we do have that item in the inventory, then we are going to in the shopping cart, in the inventory. I'm sorry. Then we are going to call the delete function and delete that from our shopping cart and add it into the inventory. Otherwise, there are no items in our inventory so far, so we can't delete anything. Okay, if we're in inventory mode, then we're gonna prompt the user to ask what they want to delete, and we're simply gonna call the delete function. Fairly simple, no error checking needed, no extra pass-through of functions needed, just a simple ask for the user. And obviously we'll break after we complete our action. Case P for checking out from the shopping mode, we will check for an empty inventory. If not, then we will check our total. If our total is 0, then we're gonna make a total double variable, and then we're gonna set that to 0. We're gonna go through each item in the shopping cart, multiply its price by its quantity, and keep adding it onto the total in order to get our subtotal. We're gonna print out a little itemized receipt, just saying receipt for Amazon, and then we're gonna list out the products with the price down. Then we're gonna show it's added a subtotal, showcase the tax that we're gonna be adding, multiply the total by the tax and add that onto the old total to get our new final total. We're gonna round that by 2 in order to get a accurate monetary format. We are going to print out our new final total and then tell the user that thank you for shopping us, a little message, and then finally clear our cart. We can clear our cart because we've already updated the inventory, so there's no further updating of the inventory needed. The inventory is already accounted for the products that have been bought. Case S is simply switching to our shopping mode, so we're just going to make choice mode menu to shopping, and we're going to break out. If case I, meaning we're switching to our inventory mode, then our choice menu is going to be switch to I, and then break Q for quitting the application, and then a default message if a invalid case is inputted, then we're just going to make an error message, print it out. And this is the end of the program as it's made. And now I'm going to showcase how it runs and how it works. So, for example, I'm going to show that if we want to create something, if we try to do a message if we try to do something in the shopping mode without anything in the inventory added beforehand, then we're just going to simply get an error message in any which case. Right here, we try to add something to shopping cart, there's nothing in the inventory. We try to read out the shopping cart, if there's nothing in the inventory, there's really nothing to read out the shopping cart. So what would we like to do? We're going to move on to inventory mode, and now we're going to create an item. So now we want to create a pizza. It's going to be, I don't know, $8.99. And then we're going to create 5. And let's say we want an apple. And we're going to do $1.99 and 10 apples. And let's say we want bananas. And those are going to be 99 cents. And we're gonna add 5 of those bananas. So now we can read out our inventory. We have 5 pieces in stock, 10 apples in stock, 5 bananas in stock, all with their appropriate prices, and they have their appropriate ID, listing them 1 through 3 in order of when they were added into the inventory so far. So now we've added them into the inventory, and now we can also use the update function. So if we want to add, we're going to input our ID for pieces. So let's say we want more pieces. We want 15 pieces. We're going to read that out. Now we have 15 pieces. If we want to delete something from there, let's say we no longer want any bananas in our inventory. We now delete the bananas from our inventory. This is mostly all we can do in the inventory mode, as was practically the same functionality as what the examples in class were given. We've mostly only done the difference is only in the formatting of when we read out the product. So now we're going to switch to shopping mode. And let's say we want to add a pizza to our shopping cart. Let's say we want to add 8 pizzas to our shopping cart. We have 8 pizzas in our shopping cart. Let's say we want to add 5 apples to our shopping cart. Now we have 5 apples in our shopping cart. Let's say we want to update our apples in our shopping cart. Let's say we want 8 apples now in our shopping cart. We're going to enter our new quantity, 8 apples. We have 8 apples in our shopping cart. We can move to inventory, check out our apples. Now we have 2 apples, and we had 8, and now we have 8 in the shopping cart. Before we had 5 in cart. And when we first started out with our apples, we had 10 apples in stock. Since we have 8 in our shopping cart now, it's actually been updated to 2. Now let's say we want to delete something from our shopping cart. So let's say we want to delete our pizzas from the shopping cart. We no longer have pizzas in our shopping cart. We can move to inventory mode. And now we have our apples in there. Let's move to shopping cart mode. Let's say we want to check out. And we have our pieces and our apples. I believe I've inputted something incorrectly there, but now we have our pieces and our apples in our shopping cart. We have our total, our little itemized receipt in there. And now if I read out our shopping cart, it is empty. I move to inventory mode. We still have our two apples. Let's say I want to add video games to our inventory. We want them to cost $89.99, and we want 15 of them. Read that out. It's just shopping mode. We're going to add the video games. Add the video games. We want 10 of them. We have them right there. Inventory 5. We're going to move to shopping. I say we want to update. We want 13 video games. Now we have 13 in cart, 2 in the stock. Now we're going to shop. Say we want to check out. Now we have our video games in there. Empty shopping cart, move to inventory. We have 2 and 2. And now the last thing is we can showcase is moving to shopping cart mode. And let's say we want to take all the video games. So video games, let's say we want to input too many video games. We want 3 video games. We're going to have an error showing that there's not enough of the product in the list. Same with apples. If let's say we want to add apples. Apple, we want 3 of them. There's not enough in stock. We read out our shopping cart, it's not going to be there because there's not enough in our stock. So we're going to go to inventory. There we have it. And now we are going to move to shopping, create video game. I have 2 of them. Read it out. We have 2 video games in cart. And we are going to have 0 in stock. So it's sold out. It's up to the user if they want to delete that. Yeah, let's say we want to delete that from our inventory, right? So let's say we want to delete 3. Now our video game's no longer there. But now we go to shopping mode and we have our video games there. If we delete our video games from here, then it's not going to be here, but we go to inventory and we have our apples. And so now our fully functioning product, it seems we have a little bug when deleting an item from the shopping cart in which it doesn't accurately translate to the inventory. I do not know why that is happening. I'm pretty sure it must have something to do with the update function in which it's not, with the delete function in which it's not creating an accurate product. So I seem to have an error there, a little bug there, but otherwise, this is a fully functioning program that does everything that's required in the objective list. So thank you for watching. And also you can quit when you need to quit. Thank you for watching.